Hello folks, welcome to Legacy IAS. Today in this live, like as usual, we'll be discussing about the current affairs, okay, presented to you by your faculty, Sushma ma'am. Alright, so let's get into the video. Okay, see, hello online class, okay. It's very nice meeting you guys. You've been very open with your comments, okay. You've also been kept it very engaging, interactive. That's very nice, okay. That makes it easier for me also. Rather than me being just talking, one-sided conversation, when you guys comment back, okay, nice hellos which keep coming, those are encouraging, okay. Alright, without further ado, let's start the class. Today's first topic will be discussing, okay, we're discussing the June current affairs compilation of 2024. The topic of interest today is your environmental performance index, okay. Let me just have a look. Yeah, I was just seeing if any of you had any technical glitches or you were able to hear properly. Alright, yeah, so environmental performance index. This is launched by your World Economic Forum, okay. One main important thing is, why is this? This is countries' efforts to achieve, I think now the font size must be visible to you all, right? This is again, as the name states, environmental performance index. Look at the name itself. What are we trying to perform with respect to environment? As of now, the current global trend, we know it is global warming. We have to try to curb your global warming. Yes. Now, to curb the global warming, right, the collective agenda that we have taken is reduce, okay, the carbon footprint, and also make sure that the earth's temperature doesn't heat up below your 2.5 degrees Celsius, and also make sure the legislations, laws, policies, etc. will be towards that front to achieve that goal. Yeah, it is a collective joint effort. Yes, it is a collective joint effort by your countries. When I say countries, this is a universal, okay, because when it comes to climate change, it has to be from a universal grouping, and participation also has to be universal, which means majority of the member countries, okay, should be on the same line. Now, if we just leave, we've told them to reduce, they will reduce. If we just have that, and if countries did that, it would have been nice, right? But even like the small school children, we have to check, did you do your homework, did you do your homework? The countries also have to be checked, did you reduce the emissions, are you in the same path to do that? So, based on that, this is more like a report, okay, which tracks the progress, okay, to see if it is in line with the if it's in line with the collective agenda, whatever is taken by the universal countries, okay. So, it was launched by World Economic Forum, and it rates from 0 to 100 scale, okay. In this context, higher the number, better the ranking. Fine. Let us see what are the challenges that we face while we have to assess, okay, that is while the teacher has to assess, or for example, a student brings his homework, I am going to check his homework, I am going to say it's right, wrong, how did he perform. But the same thing when I have to do as a teacher when it comes to environmental value, okay, whether are they keeping in track, are they on progress, on what basis am I going to keep the progress. So, here on that also becomes very important, on what basis it is tracked, okay. Remember this, we will discuss about this further down also, on what basis it is tracked also becomes very important, okay, while you are measuring. First and foremost, measuring biodiversity loss is a very complex dynamic, Why? Why is it very complex? Because firstly, we do not have a standardized methodology to do that. Okay, and also we have lack of efficient monitoring system. And see, this particular issue, okay, for developing countries, okay, for the developing countries and least developed countries, priority is for economic integration. Priority is for economic safety and security over environmental safety and security. Okay, and also it is too fast paced. See, if you look at the, let's just consider and talk like a story, heart out conversation. 14th century, the world went through Renaissance. By the world we mean major chunk, major zone, that is Europe went through Renaissance. Fine, it went through Renaissance, it had intellectual, okay, uproar in all of the fields, fine, which led them to discovery, innovations, research and development, okay. Their societies changed, modernization started happening, westernization started happening on a large scale. They undertook these ventures in the name of mastering the civilizations in the form of colonization. All this they took up, okay. They had ample enough time, okay, to make sure that they come to a stage where from just mere primary producers they became, okay, or their economy was centered around your production. That was your 17th century industrial revolution, okay. They tried to first create themselves in different orders, yeah. They took adequate number of time, centuries, years, etc. for their development today to earn that developed country status tags, okay. And they in that process didn't consider about, okay. Do you think 17th century, 18th century they were bothered about environment? Do you think they were bothered about the fact that they are using harmful chemicals which is bothering the climate, so they have to shift to cleaner fuels? If they had thought all that, probably we wouldn't have to be in this position today. But they didn't think it then. Now they are thinking after considerable damage is done, now that we have to do the changes. But what stage they were in 17th, 18th century, many countries in today 2024 are in that scenario. Today we are still having this, we have to get the production in, we have to do the production activities, we have to make sure food security has to be provided. Many times, especially with respect to environment, no, there is a constant conflict. Okay, this constant conflict between your humans and environment. Now, when I say this, for example, food security over nitrogenous, yeah, nitrogenous cycle, will further down also discuss about that. So, these people are now putting a pressure on the developing and least developed countries, which are just now eye-opening and entering into the, see, one thing is they had your developed countries, they had adequate time to cross through each zones, yes. They smoothly transitioned into the globalization era. But we, especially India and other developing countries alongside the least developed countries and all, we were thrown into these things, okay. We were not gradually smooth sailing. It has never been a smooth sailing scenario for a country like us. And in this you expect the same results that you did, which you are now as a developed country. Okay, so this is rather unfair if you consider for developing country and least developed countries. Right now, by max you are telling us, I am giving you some extension. Is that what you had while developing from 17th century to 21st century, just few years of extension? Understanding. So, these things little bit just don't read it like, this protocol, that, this. Try to understand, okay, and go beyond and start questioning. Is it right? Is it right? They are expecting these from now developing countries, especially for developing and least developed countries. This is a very, very important phenomenon. First of all, they have to try to, especially in India, let's consider food security itself, we have to yet, okay, we are yet to be completely doing 100% implementation. In such scenario, we have to face the twin challenge of your climate change, okay, climate conservation. Okay, so this is an unasked burden on these countries that you are trying to put. Okay, alongside that, we have one main issue is we have fossil based industries. Okay, many a times it is fossil based industries which are causing Again, to shift to cleaner fuels, that is also a very huge task. You can answer, let them shift. Well, let them shift is not an easy thing now for a developing country. They need that amount of technologies. Yes, they need R&D, they need funding, they need technical expertise. Okay, they also need investors coming in. Right, it is not a very easy thing for a developing country or at least developed country to immediately switch over from this. Yeah, understanding this clear up until here? Any doubts? Okay, let's move ahead. So, in the index, while we are talking about in the index who performed or fared well, okay, that would be your Estonia, okay, which reduced almost 59%, okay, which reduced almost 59% of its greenhouse gas emissions compared to the 1990 level to the 2021 levels. The top performers in the list is your Estonia, Finland, Greece, Timor, United Kingdom, etc. Okay, they are more on the path to reach the net zero target. Okay, net zero target by 2050. The lowest performing member countries, okay, if you see it is your sub-Saharan African and Southern Asian countries. Okay. Now, what are the challenges with this? Okay, that is in the indexes. United States, it calls itself the most developed country. It itself is having a slow progress, and with respect to this is sort of expected. Okay, increasing emissions are coming from China, India and Russia, but here there is another thing to this fact. India is telling you are just considering that we are increasing the emissions, right? But you are not considering, okay, you are measuring this performance, right? On what basis is it tracked? Okay, because you forgot to see what we are doing, okay, but rather you are only calculating what we didn't do. What we didn't do versus what we did. This is a very, very important criteria that we are speaking about. On what basis? Because India claims that, see, you are telling that we are just increasing the increasing the emissions, okay, emissions. But what you are not seeing is how exactly we are trying to do it. It has a long term benefit. For example, the amount of carbon sinks that we have created, okay, is on a very bigger level and it is on an increased level, and you did not even consider this. Okay, you didn't even consider these things, but you went ahead telling that India is increasing its emission. You put us through all the limelight and blast us for not achieving your targets. Okay. So, we will see what is India's position in the index. India ranks 176th out of 180 countries, not a very fair good ranking. It scored only 27 points. The only ranking it was above was your Pakistan, Vietnam, Laos and Myanmar. Also, India is criticized for having a very poor air quality. Okay, your AQI is very bad, especially in the National Capital Territory. Yes, so these are all the criticisms that has been coming. Please write down up until now what we have discussed. Done? Understanding? Clear up until here? Any doubts, anything you didn't understand, ask in the comment section. I will make sure I will clarify it. Okay? Alright. let's enter into the next topic. We will be discussing about your Nagarhole Tiger Reserve. See, the name Nagarhole means snake. Alright, Nagara means snake. Fine, so it gets its name somewhere from this. Look at this. Your Nagarhole Tiger Reserve is located in your districts of Mysore and Kodagu region in Karnataka. It's the area of above your nearmost 850 kilometers. It borders Kerala, Wayanad Wildlife Sanctuary and Bandipur Tiger Reserve. That is also part of your Nilgiri Biosphere Reserve, very important, write this down. And this was declared a tiger reserve under Project Tiger in 1999. These are all the facts which are very important, please write it down. Yes. See now, the sad thing is, you know why I always tell you, always question as to why you're getting this particular current affair. There's a reason probably you're getting this, right? One of the reasons why this has come into the current affair is, you know, Dasara celebrations took place recently and there is a grandeur in Mysore. One of the elephants which took part in the Mysore Dasara celebration got electrocuted, okay, in this particular tiger reserve. See, one thing about your wildlife, especially human animal conflict, in recent times, okay, has seen a very increasing trend. Okay, see, any life for that matter, human life, animal life, all are alive, right? Maybe we have a sense extra. They might have a sense, you know, 5 sense. At least what we per se say is we are extra. Okay, meaning by extra, we are 6 sensed organisms, they are 5 sensed organisms. But if you look at it, the human wildlife conflict or animal conflict has been so much, not just about your accidental version. Okay, further down also we will be discussing on the fact about how we are constantly endangering their existence itself. We speak about climate change. Okay, we were the ones who, you know, damaged the climate, and now we are trying to, okay, mitigate the crisis. Similarly, we are the ones who are trying to harm the animals, and then we will be the ones thinking, Project Tiger we have to do, project that we have to do, project this we have to do. You know, all this seems like a band-aid step. Okay, when I say a band-aid step, you are just trying to address the problem, okay, after it's grown out of magnanimity. Can you go and control floods with a band-aid? That's exactly what is the measures we are trying to take. After you allow the problem to become so big, so huge, so magnanimous, you want to go put band-aids on the holes and tell, probably this should hold it. Same thing as with your climate change, and same thing as with your animal conflict. Constantly, okay, we are not using the environment, okay, use is fine, but we are misusing this environment, we are misusing the earth. You know, this is where Gandhi's quote seems very apt. There is enough on this planet for everyone's need, but there is not enough for everyone's greed. 2 other more earths you put together also is not sufficient for our greeds. And in this, okay, we are constantly trying to make sure what is baffling is we even try to pretend like we are trying to be the saviors. But in reality, we are the poachers. We're just trying to hurt the planet and animals. It's not to speak in a very condescending or negative manner, but don't you think all these is a proof of that? Yes, don't you think if we are not being sustainable, judicious, we're just harming the planet more than it should be? But in turn, we are just reaching ourselves and taking ourselves to the doomsday. Whether with us or without us, the earth will rejuvenate. Okay, but we shouldn't take it to an extent that without us is where earth should rejuvenate. Yeah. So all this have to be doing with, we see mindfulness everywhere. But mindfulness should be implemented in possibly every arenas, don't you think? It's just these topics like this where we see, we will portray an animal, beautiful creatures. Elephants are very beautiful creatures. Very smart too, very emotional. Yeah. By emotional, they have very EQ, good EQ. As such kind of ones, we parade around our grandeur and then it dies out of electrocution. Those topics are not just something you read about current affairs and you feel like, yeah, it shouldn't have happened, it happened. No, if you're a human who has some amount of empathy, it does affect you, right? Or at least, that's how it is. Anyway, the Nagarhole Tiger Reserve flora, the key species include your rosewood, teak, sandalwood and silver oak. Important from your statement perspective questions for your prelims. The fauna is tigers, leopards, Asiatic wild dogs, sloth bears, Asiatic elephants, gaur, sambar, chital, antelope, wild pigs, deers, langurs. So, I would suggest write this down. This is pretty much important from the statement kind of questions. Yes, we'll move ahead. Alright. Yeah. Rising nitrous oxide emissions. Today's class almost is about your environment, biotechnology, human animal conflicts, these only. Mostly it's this topics only. And then we keep wondering, what is the way forward? For every single one of these topics, we have a way forward. Like in the mains, you're supposed to write that. Apparently, which is not supposed to give the problems or challenges, you are also supposed to give solutions. So, we have a way forward for everything. Underlying cause is the same thing. What we discussed? Misuse, mindless consumption, rising nitrous oxide emissions. Okay, your Global Carbon Project has released a report. Okay, what is it? Global nitrous oxide budget. Okay, if you see, the nitrous oxide emission has increased now tenfold times more than what it was in your early 1990s period of time. The major indicators, okay, or the major contributors are your human activities. In that, the major contributors are China, India, US, Brazil and Russia. Alright. And also, if you see, the nitrous oxide has reached 336 parts per billion in 2022. One thing about your nitrous oxide is, it has the capacity, okay, your nitrous oxide has the capacity to hold 300 times carbon dioxide, okay, that is 300 times the heat, capture the heat more than your carbon dioxide, okay, and the period of time that it will hold this much heat is more than 100 years. So, your nitrous oxide has the capacity to hold the heat, okay, which is 300 times more heat, the capacity than what your carbon dioxide will hold, and for an extended period of time, that is 100 years and above, okay. That is how hazardous is your nitrous oxide emissions, okay. So, what is the sources? First and foremost, oceans, inland water bodies, soil, Yeah, they all hold it. Agricultural activities mainly. Use of nitrogen fertilizer, industry, combustion, waste treatment, increased demand for meat and dairy products. Yeah. Okay. We once used to practice, before your green revolution and all those things, or before it started becoming too mainstream. The agriculture that was practiced was in a very sustainable manner. For example, let's take the same thing. Before green revolution, okay, if you are going to, okay, lay a crop which is very intensive, post that how they would rejuvenate the soil is through crop rotation, legumes, okay, because legumes have a tendency to fix the micronutrients in the soil. Okay, so they have the ability to fix the micronutrients into the soil, okay, which means the soil would be allowed the time to rejuvenate. But now we moved from crop rotation to crop intensification. Don't even give time, don't even make sure you give the golden goose adequate time, you just cut its neck is with the concepts we are doing. Yeah. So, these are the things which is increasing the nitrous oxide emissions. What are the implications of the rising nitrous oxide emissions? Global warming, ozone layer, agricultural impact, climate agreement challenges. Okay, which means you are not able to meet the demands. Now, previously we saw, no? Right? India is not able to fulfill its demands. China is not able to fulfill its demands. Russia is not able to fulfill its demands. Yes? So, what do you think is the solutions that we can do? Optimized fertilizer use. Okay. Nitrification inhibitors, cover crops. Okay. Anti-methanogenic feeds such as your Harit Dara, okay, which is an anti-nitrogen feed mostly for your cattle, and nano fertilizer, emission trading schemes, okay. Alongside this you will add farmer incentives, awareness, community engagement. Okay. This ETFC, we can see successful models carried out in EU and try to implement the same which is suitable to ours. Okay. So, these would be the solutions towards your nitrous oxide emissions. Okay. The next topic is your forest fires in Brazil's Amazon rainforest. Clear up until here? Understanding? Please write down whatever we have discussed. Okay. Now, when we say Amazon rainforest, okay, your Amazon rainforest size is almost twice the size of India. Yeah, it's almost twice the size of India. It occupies almost only just 1% of the cover, of the global cover. Yeah, but it houses 10% of the flora and fauna, that is key species. Okay, the Amazon forest is another important cover, okay, which is very, very important from a biodiversity perspective. Okay. It acts as a natural reserve for your carbon storage or your carbon sink. Your Amazon rainforest recently recorded the largest forest fire, okay, and it is spread around. Your Amazon forest is spread around 8 countries, yes, and it occupies almost 40% of Brazil's total area, okay. This is where the main focus is, and it receives more than 200 centimeters of rainfall. Its temperature ranging is from 20 degree to 35 degrees Celsius, okay. The biodiversity part we discussed. Now we will be discussing the cultural significance. It houses more than 400 indigenous groups. It houses more than 300 indigenous languages spoken, home to 10% of all wildlife species, crucial in curbing global warming, etc. See, when you say forest fires, okay, people go ahead to argue that there is some advantages also about the forest fires. One such thing is, see, in the forest fires, especially in a forest like Amazon forests, okay, where it's a deep canopy, where sunlight most times don't even touch the ground. At these moments, okay, at these moments of forest fires, it gives an opportunity for sunlight to hit, and then for new species, new vegetation, etc. to survive. So, it gives a fighting chance. But on the same end, okay, whichever species could not escape the fire are all part of it. Yes, a lot of species, vegetation, flora, fauna is lost to the fires. Yes, and another important thing is here, the output or the impact is too big. Understanding? It is not just any other small forest, okay, any small forest, big forest, it is too crucial for our for the entire world. But forest fires in very important biodiversity hotspot like your Amazon is too much of a risk to, okay, not consider and weigh the options. Now look at this, what would happen, okay, what would happen if you don't make sure adequate response is taken? First and foremost, you would lose precious species, life, you would also disturb the natural ecologic, okay. When I say natural ecological formations, which means Amazon rainforest, you can tell sunlight will reach if it goes down, etc. and also it will give a chance for all the stubble, etc. would be burned down, it will give a chance for again rejuvenation, recover, etc. It is in a particular way, it has deep canopy, etc. If you disturb that, you do not know how the effect is going to be. Like for example, we also are experimenting apparently with the same thing with our climate change, right? Once the polar ice caps melt, once the glaciers start melting, yes, water, etc. is there, but we don't know what exactly is going to be the output, okay. So that is a very dangerous thing to be playing with, and the same thing is with your Amazon rainforests, okay. Also, what do you think caused the Amazon rainforest? First thing is excessive use of slash and burn techniques in your agriculture, okay. Piece of land, practice farming, agriculture is practiced. After your crop is over, okay, what do? You burn the forest. I mean, you burn the forest in the sense you burn that area, leave it and then move on to different place. Understanding? Another thing is El Nino events. See, at this period of time, the Pacific Ocean region is very warmer. Okay, the Pacific Ocean region is very warmer, and also this is very your forest fires and El Nino happen somewhere on a similar time, okay. So one of the attributes could be the warmer Pacific Ocean contributes to this. Another thing is with growing climate change. This is your accidental ignitions and natural ignitions in the form throwing, okay, usage of fire roads, okay, igneous things such as your smoking cigars, butts, etc. and also lighting thunderstorm, yes, lightning, all these striking add as an ignition feature. Another thing is your global demand for food. This is a common conundrum. Food security versus environmental protection. Okay, this is the double-edged sword we are living in. Yeah, we'll move ahead. Now we've been seeing about Amazon forest fires, right? So India is also pretty much the home to a lot of forest fires. So we'll take and see it from India's perspective also. So we have something called as National Action Plan on Forest Fires. We also have Forest Fire Prevention and Management Scheme. This is the only central scheme, okay, which is there to assist the states during forest fire. Yeah, important. I would suggest write this down. Clear up until here? Any doubts? Anything you didn't understand? If you see the season of forest fires in India, it is from November to June. Okay, this is the season of forest fires in India, or majority of forest fire occurrence is during this period of time. Okay, majority occurrences is during your November to June period of time, and more than 62% of Indian states are prone to, look at this, high intensity forest fires, which means India is very prone to forest fires. Which states specifically? Andhra Pradesh, Odisha, Maharashtra, Madhya Pradesh, Chhattisgarh, Uttarakhand, Telangana, and mostly your northeastern states. Your northeastern states have the highest prevalence, and among them is the Mizoram. Okay, 95% of its districts in Mizoram is prone to forest fires. Understanding? How do we mitigate the risk or reduce the risk of forest fires? First of all, prevention. When we say prevention, it's almost like, see, forest fires, natural, yes, man-made, then how? First and foremost, you use fire suppression, okay, and also you take the first line, okay, you create the first line of defense against the fire is, okay, assume this is forests, yeah, you keep a barrier, you use barriers as the first line of defense before it starts with the forests. And second thing, when it starts, when you have detected there is fire coming, first and foremost have adequate helicopters. We also have discussed the forest fires in last current affair live. We discussed your helicopters were circling around your Binsar Wildlife Sanctuary because of the forest fires there. So you need to have adequate helicopters to make sure you suppress the forest fires and contain it. Okay, main thing about a forest fires is you have to contain it and not allow it to spread. Yes, and also you have adequate water tanks present. Yes, and also have good amount of forest managements. Do not make sure you provide fuel to the forest fire, okay, and also one main important thing is your community education. Alright, clear up until here? Then we will be discussing about your striped Sicilian in Kaziranga National Park. Okay, what is this? This is an elongated segmented limbless amphibian, which is why it mostly resembled like your earthquake or snake. Yes, it resembles that. It belongs to the order of Gymnophina or Apoda, meaning without legs. Okay, they are related to frogs and salamanders, and also Sicilian means blind. If you see the size, okay, the smallest of animal could range from somewhere from 3 inches, the largest of animal which ranges from 5 feet. Okay. Where is their habitat? They are predominantly found in your moist tropical and subtropical regions, South and Central America, South and Southeast Asia, and Sub-Saharan Africa. Alright. Now, this is again one more thing which we would be discussing about your man and animal conflict. Recently, okay, in a summit, okay, in a summit which was held in Zambia, okay, they have come together. Who, what exactly, I will tell. A summit was held in Zambia by member countries who are coming into this summit to say that they want to withdraw from CITES. Okay. Why? Is because this particular member states were asking for permission to sell their abundant ivory and other wildlife products. Understanding? Look at this. Kavango Zambezi Trans-Frontier Conservation Area is what we call. It is the member countries who are asking the CITES, okay, that you legalize ivory selling, okay, and you legalize us, the member countries, ivory selling and other wildlife products, okay. When the CITES refused it, okay, these member countries want to withdraw from the CITES, okay. Now they are continuing that withdrawal from the CITES and claiming that because the CITES is not allowing them to legally sell ivory and other animal products, they don't want to be a member of CITES anymore. Understanding? So, who are the member countries? They are 5 southern African nations: Angola, Botswana, Namibia, Zambia and Zimbabwe. Okay. 70% of Kadza land is under conservation, which means it comprises of 103 wildlife management areas and 85 forest reserves. And this also harbors 2/3 of Africa's elephant population. Understanding? Excuse me. In the Conference of Parties 2022, the South African countries are advocating for legalization of ivory trade. First of all, when we say, is there something called as legalized ivory trade? Yes, there is. Which country is doing it? It is Japan, okay. And also the reason these people are pointing out why we want to legalize ivory trade is so that for finance conservation and reducing human wildlife conflicts, okay, this was the two reasons why they have told that ivory trade should be considered legal, but it was outright rejected based from the sites, okay. There are, and also your sites, okay, is against trophy hunting, which means there is very much restrictions on trophy hunting. Now the question is, what is trophy hunting? Okay, trophy hunting means you hunt animals or wildlife, mostly big mammals, okay, you hunt them for their body parts such as teeth, etc. Okay. In one country they sell koala, I think bile, okay. So trophy hunting is not permitted. Now these countries are asking, okay, that we have to be allowed trophy hunting, which means we will hunt the animals for body parts of the animals or wildlife, or which is usually your big mammals, okay. So wildlife crime or crime against wildlife is on a very increased trend. Now the question is, what can be done to prevent such crimes? First thing is, see, now constantly they are asking legalize every trade, that trade, this trade, animal ka skin, animal ka tusk, good God. All this they are asking. Then first and foremost, what do? You reduce the demand. How many countries are calling out people who end up using this, okay. One such scenario was for example in one of the fashion week, when one was using a fur based things. People called them out and brutally brought them into the social media, dragged them and told the usage of this is not good, etc. and all, and then they, okay, so which was basically bringing the issue to the forefront. One more thing is, criticize the usage of animal products. I mean, see, isn't it enough we already take a lot from the planet? Should we also take it from their body parts? So first and foremost, your demand for these products has to be reduced. And also illegal, one more thing is, see, many countries within their ambit, within their countries, they had good amount of reserves, okay, like your ivory, tusk, etc. were there. Those countries burnt all of those just to make sure that, send a message that it doesn't enter into the black market, okay. You don't create the demand for it. Just because it doesn't enter the black market, they went ahead and burned it down, the surplus whatever they had, or the products whatever they had. Another thing is, support anti-poaching efforts, education and awareness, scientific and economic collaboration. Yes. And first and foremost, people have to be taught life is a life, no? No matter whose is it, a life is a life. We have been taught all these things from kindergarten. You shouldn't hurt each other, you shouldn't treat them like this, and all those things. But I don't know, where do those lessons go as we grow up? Don't you think? We try to teach, at least when they're young, your education system is all about moral values, morality, how you teach, what is the value system. But somewhere as you grow up, or as the education system keeps on growing, it somewhere disappears down the line. Okay. So there are few initiatives on that front where we have tried to reduce the wildlife crime. One is your traffic and WWF. This is a feature which is by both IUCN and WWF, okay, wherein one of the success stories is where Thai legislation was reformed and nearly eliminated the concept of domestic ivory market, okay. Ban on domestic ivory, destroying the stockpiles. This is what we discussed. One of the countries went ahead to even burn down all the stockpiles that it had, okay. The next topic that we would see is recycle nutrients, okay, to mitigate your fertilizer crisis. Now, a possible mains question on this front is, globally there is a growing focus on preventing nutrient wastage and promoting recycling. Understand this? So, you have to speak something about nutrient wasting and then promote recycling. In this context, discuss the significance of nutrient recycling and the strategies that can promote it. Okay, this is a 15 marks question. We will see what it is. First, like we kept speaking earlier in one of the examples, okay, you let the nutrients go to waste. So, understand this, I am going to put this one, nutrients at the wrong place and at the wrong time ends up being detrimental to the society. We have discussed this, right? Why crop rotation etc. was practiced. The crops were grown without fertilizers, and post your heavy intensive crops, we would grow legumes, okay, which would basically, okay, fix the micronutrients into the soil. Yes, alongside this, we would add it with livestock farming, for example, usage of your manure, okay, urine, cow, cattle urine, etc. Now, when you put the same manure, okay, when you put the same manure or your urine into the soil, okay, it becomes necessary nutrient. Okay. Now, the same manure, okay, with respect to your dairy farming industries, okay, where it is focused somewhere near your peri-urban areas, meaning somewhere like which is very adjacent to your urban areas. And these places where they are not using the manure and rather discard it to waste, sewers, okay, and no good waste management, and end up going into your water bodies. The very rich manure, which is very much a necessary nutrient, when it goes into water bodies, waste and then sewers, etc., it becomes an unnecessary nutrient. Okay? This is, in simpler words, this is positive, this is negative, this is good, this is bad. So, this is why I said manure at the wrong place at the wrong time is detrimental to the nature, understanding, and also excessive usage of fertilizers etc. are burdening the soil with intensive crops. So, we have been discussing legumes fix soil and your certain soil microbes fix atmospheric nitrogen in the soil. What are the micronutrients? Nitrogen, phosphorus, potassium, sulfur, carbon, etc. Yes. The modern farming is heavily relying on your NPK methods. Earlier this work was done by your manures and legume cultivation, but now we are moving away from this. Yes. And also the livestock farming has shifted into, that is what we said, peri-urban dairies, okay. The manure and urine predominantly enter contaminating the ground and surface water bodies. That is why I said manure at wrong place at wrong time. Yes. Clear up until here? Understood? Any doubts? Yes, this is live. Okay, we'll move ahead. Then what is the possible, okay, or potential pollution caused by nitrogenous compounds? Mainly it's coming from fertilizers. This is taking majority chunk. Another thing is from manure, urine, sewage, okay, which is polluting in the form of ammonia or nitrous oxide. Okay. Then also your ammonia contributes to your particulate matter, that is PM 2.5 and PM 5, which is a pollutant, okay, or in other words undesirable. Okay. So what are the global initiatives to make sure, okay, we don't end up nutrient wasting? See, one more thing is, when they say nutrient wastage, here when we discussed this nitrogenous compounds, okay, understand it like this. This is a good feature, okay, consider this is like, I want to draw a happy face, yeah. This nutrient guy, okay, he is put in water body, okay. Because of this, it is considered polluting. Sad. Understand why I am telling you, okay. Now, what we are trying is, this fellow is there, he is in the water body, he is in the sewers, he is in the subsurface, he is on the grounds, he is polluting. But the thing is, this guy can be taken and put him back into the place where he belongs, okay. He is again back smiling, meaning this pollutant, when it is in the, again the same thing previously I told, right, a wrong place, wrong time, take it away from the wrong place, wrong time and put it in the right place, it is now being back to the desired nutrient, okay. This desired nutrient will reduce the dependence on your heavy NPK fertilizers, nitrogen, potassium, phosphorus, yes. So, this is a win-win situation, understanding? Just that this nutrient is somewhere lost, we just add one more thing, like I told, we just have to find it and put it back. What do I mean by find it and put it back? We will just see here. Target 7 of the Cumming-Montreal Global Biodiversity Framework said that, okay, in the Biological Diversity Conference of Parties, look at this, reduce pollution risk and negative impact of pollution from all sources by 2030. Look at this, to levels that are not harmful to biodiversity and ecosystem functions and services, considering cumulative effects including, this is the important part, reducing excess nutrients lost to the environment by at least half through more efficient nutrient cycling and use. So, basically we are here talking about your nutrient recycling, or that is what I said, by bringing this guy back, okay, bringing this guy back to the place where he is supposed to be is called as nutrient recycling. Understanding? This is what they are trying to do. Fine. We will move ahead to the last topic of the day. Didymocarpus janaki. Look at this. What is it? It is a plant species discovered in Arunachal Pradesh. It is pretty much found in the subtropical forest of West Kameng district. This is the name, yeah, okay, is named to honor Janaki Ammal, who was a pioneering Indian botanist, okay, to her contribution in the field of botany, okay. And also one thing about this particular plant is it belongs to a pristine undisturbed habitat. Okay. For example, when we say when mosses or your lichens are there, then it means the air is clean. Okay. We can determine the quality of the environment or the surrounding. Okay. So, we can determine the quality of the environment based on the presence of these kind of species. Okay. Similar to this kind is your plant, this guy, yeah. First and foremost, one of the issues with this is it faces severe threats due to habitat degradation, and also the number, if you see, it is very less, and also the area in which it is covered is also very less, understanding, and it is also referred to as stone flower, okay, which is a part of African violet family. Okay, understood? Any doubts up until here? I hope you have enjoyed the session like I did. Okay, now if you do like our content, subscribe to our channel, hit the like button, share along with your friends, and this is the end of your current affairs of today, brought to you by your faculty Sushma ma'am. Thank you guys.